This is on Spotify, by the way. It's just not called the White Album. It's just called The Beatles.
Oh, it's called The title of the album is The Beatles. There it is. We've not done many. Well, we had a problem with doing The Beatles, and I was scared, and it felt inappropriate. You can't review The Beatles; they're just perfect. And we did our 3 favourite albums and all that. But we did mention how we're not fans of the White Album, and people did point out, well, wouldn't that be more interesting, actually, if you pick apart the White Album, make Beatles fans, very angry, it's perfect, how dare you, etc. Don't bother with that, thank you. But here we have, seems ever such a muted release. I didn't even know about it, I just saw it on Amazon, I think. So I'm amazed it wasn't marketed at me, really. Because I had to browse through Amazon to find it. It is the remix of the White Album. The controversial moment in the catalogue, not just for us, it's the one after the big one, and it is nothing like the big one. And they avoided doing Sgt. Pepper 2. And that was Magical Mystery Tour, really, but they made a concerted effort to make it different. So it's the fact that it's just a plain thing and there's just some songs was a concerted effort to do something different. Some people consider it the best album of all time. I find that completely baffling, to be honest. I still do. So what's wrong? Okay, what's wrong with it? Well, I've always thought it sounded terrible. Okay, my dad had a reel-to-reel tape of it. I don't know if it was the whole album, actually, but it was some of it. And in my head, that's what it sounded like. And then it was a copy. I don't think you could buy it on reel-to-reel tape. I think it was a copy. Probably taped off the radio or something. Yeah. And then I heard it on CD, and it still had the sort of dodgy, scratchy tape wobble sound. That's just what it sounds like. It sounds terrible. So this is the remix. They've remixed it, and by doing that, it's admitting that is not how it should sound. It sounds much better. If it can be fixed, this is it. Okay, and straight away, I mean, back in the U.S.S.R, the sound of the plane on the original is just you've just got that noise going through, and the tape wobble. It sounds awful. This sounds like a plane, and it's mixed, so it's not. That's good. I'd say back in the U.S.S.R is a really good song. In a way, I'm not going to defend Birthday. Martha, My Dear. Bit of a revelation. I'm completely always just with the mix. Suddenly you can hear the strings at the start properly, and it's a really good song. So some of it sounds much the same. I mean, it sounds different, sounds better, but it doesn't make much difference. So the I'm So Tired, Happiness is a Warm Gun. I've always thought those two go together. That's the Goons type. John Lennon messing around with bits and pieces, and that's entertaining. That thing kind of makes no difference. It's just Happiness is a Warm Gun again. When you're in the mood for it, it's fantastic. Obviously, those songs. That I think those two are out of place on the album. Actually, the track list is wrong. I'm absolutely convinced by this now. It's not just that it's a double and there's too much of it. The order of the songs is just nonsense. It's just random, and obviously with double albums, the secret often is to look at it as side 1 and side 2 and side 3 and side 4, and then you can, particularly Physical Graffiti, works fantastically like that, rather than just 2 CDs. I keep doing this. I don't know what. There's some. Yeah. We're not going to Hooters. And in the double album tradition, the second side is worse than the first. That's normal for double albums, but they're not deep cuts. And as because I'm an album person, there's no such thing as a deep cut. There's just that's just the single. That's the trivia bit. I like this bit. There's just crap songs on there. There are crap songs on there. That's still the case, I know what people won't say this. It's the White Album, and and you can't. It's so ingrained in culture that there's nothing you can do about that. They left off Hey Jude. All this crap. Bloody Honey Pie. Because Honey Pie's on there, Wild Honey Pie is on there. Only we get Wild Honey Pie, like track 5, and we don't get Honey Pie until the end. Wild Honey Pie is John Lennon taking the piss out of Honey Pie, but we haven't heard it yet. It makes no sense at all. Revolver and Rubber Soul could have been a double. How good is that as a double? And between then and this, they've lost their ability to be consistent. And I'm the same with Sgt. Pepper. I think Sgt. Pepper sags so massively in the middle. With banal, silly fiction, a whole, But is it production? And it does help having it sound better. And some of it is brilliant. And some of it isn't. Sorry. But yeah, they've lost their quality control. The stuff that should have been B-sides, the stuff that should have ended up on an Anthology 3 30 years later, really. Why don't we do it in the road? It's quite funny. Good Night. It's one of the worst ever songs. I just don't get it at all. It's terrible. People say, oh, it's a kid's thing. Yellow Submarine. Octopussy's Garden. What's it called? Bum, 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 bum. Sail the ship. Bum, bum, bum. Chop the tree. All together now. That's it. Yeah, that one. They're kid songs, aren't they? And they're amazing. This is just crap. With Ringo going good night, good night. Side 4 sucks. Basically, it's just terrible. Sorry, but the good bits now really shine. So it's not. But Let It Be Naked was a revelation for me, and I realised the songs on that album are as good as the songs on Abbey Road. It's not as well presented. But that it's a companion to Abbey Road. It's that good. This is not, but there are some fantastic moments.
So people are looking for some wicked invective here, some put down remarks that dismisses this weighty tone of Beatlesness, because as you've already said, we've already dismissed it.
Yeah,
because it was crap. Oh, George Martin did produce it.
Yes.
I thought he wasn't going to produce it. But there we go.
He left on holiday. He went on holiday halfway through. Couldn't take it anymore.
Because you did say, there's a problem here. And I think he said it should have been a singles album. Basically, it should have been quite a short singles album. Pick the best and put it out and all that kind of crap. Slight issue. I was listening to this morning and I wasn't horrified by it. What the hell happened? I think what's happened is... First ever Beatles album I listened to was Abbey Road. Second Beatles album I ever listened to was Sgt. Pepper's. Then someone told me that their favourite Beatles album was the White Album, unquestionably. I bought the White Album thinking, Jesus Christ, this is going to be good. And got really, really bored really, really quickly. And it kind of, but I reckon, you could pull songs out of this and turn it into, you could have some good albums. I think the problem is, it's not, I don't know whether the second CD is crap or not, or whether I'm just, by the time you get there, you're just so, you've heard so much of this stuff. Is it just...
I think there is a fall in quality.
It's a fatigue thing.
Yeah.
You said you don't like Good Night. I like Good Night.
Really?
Yeah, I thought it was a great finish to the album. I thought... After Revelation 9, all that weirdness and then something super straight, and I like a good lullaby. I mean, Golden Slumbers is one of the best bits on Abbey Road.
Yeah.
And that's the sort of vibe they're going for, and it's closing down the album. It's sort of...
I don't get it. I do not get... Good Night I do not get at all.
As an individual song, yeah, I kind of agree. But that position on the album... I think it was really atmospheric and effective and sort of like, whoa.
That's right.
Okay, I've listened to all that. I can go to sleep now. Great. Yeah, so, I mean, it's full of songs like Rocky Raccoon,
I think that's the one. I actually couldn't get through it. So, and that's the point. I mean, if I'm listening, I'm reviewing it, but I haven't actually got through the song. That's the only one I had to skip.
No way.
I don't think I've listened to it all the way through since I was a teenager.
Yeah. I didn't find it offensive at the time. I have to admit, I was actually enjoying listening to this. What's going on here?
But the improving the sound of it, it's nice and clear and recorded the instruments.
Yeah. I like the self-referential stuff in Glass Onion.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, and obviously the self-referential stuff Wild Honey Pie and Honey Pie. But I mean, the fact that it does that before that, that seems very John Lennon to me.
I would say we don't know what it is yet. Yeah,
it's sort of like a bit weird. Also, you've got to remember, like While My Guitar Gently Weeps, George Harrison is actually a songwriter now.
It's weird.
So they've got 3 songwriters. Yeah, I don't know if the drummer's doing anything.
Did he write "Don't Pass Me By"? I think he might have done.
"Don't Pass Me By." Is that the remember Peter Serafinovich's Goldfinger by Ringo Starr? His impression.
Yeah. Is that in that?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
It kind of reminded me of that straight away.
Doesn't say, does it? Hang on. If I look on the internet, it doesn't say in the inlay. This is actually the small version. There's like ridiculous number of discs, versions, and Blu-rays, etc. I didn't get that.
So yeah, I mean, there's an issue, and also it is widely reported that the breakdown in the band was well underway here. Mm. So the fact that you've got so many good songwriters, who aren't exactly seeing eye to eye, makes it very difficult to whittle songs down.
Yes, that's the thing.
Yeah.
They have in Robert Frippland, the band has broke up, even they're going to make 3 more albums.
Yeah. So that's going. I don't think the songwriting's that bad.
It's just.
I think I was definitely coloured by the fact that I had already heard Abbey Road.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
And since then, I've listened to Revolver, and I wasn't a big fan of this. I'd listen to this over Revolver.
I wouldn't. That's interesting. It's early days though with the remix, I suppose. And I do really like some of it. I mean, to hear Back in the U.S.S.R. properly, and it goes into Dear Prudence, and it's so good without the noises.
I enjoyed Helter Skelter.
Oh, I like Helter Skelter's fantastic. Yeah. So Don't Pass Me By is Ringo's first song. So I assume Octopus's Garden is his second song.
I'd like to be. Yeah. So this remix is actually quite a good thing,
It is.
Have in the world.
And I've been waiting for this for years and years. And years. It's never going to come because they already sell so much. Maybe the sales have started to drop off, and that's why they started remixing.
Could be.
Otherwise, they wouldn't have bothered, would they?
Yeah, could be.
But I mean, you know what's coming. I mean, we've already had Let It Be in a sense. We've had Let It Be Naked. I wonder if they'll do the movie. There was talk of they sat down to do it, but the awkwardness in the studio, etc. When they didn't really want to do it. So, but maybe they will. Maybe they'll do the movie next. But that means a remix of Abbey Road is coming out of that, and that's because that's perfect. That doesn't need it. Maybe it will. Maybe it'll be amazing. Don't know.
Who's managing them at this point? Because
themselves,
died, didn't he? So they're not.
Yeah, and that's really the start of the story. This album starts with the death of Brian Epstein, because they went to a conference by Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, that guy. So they had to meet him. Obviously, they had to go to Bangor in Wales.
Oh, Bangor, Wales.
Yeah,
lovely.
No, not India. And the people, Mick Jagger and Marianne Faithfull and whoever were there as well. And they had to leave early from that because they got the news that Brian Epstein had died. So that's where the they started making stupid decisions.
Well, this was the point where they did go to India, wasn't it? They recorded this after they came back.
Yes, yeah. The song this was written in Marrakesh. Marrakesh? Oh, Rishikesh. Why do I think it was Marrakesh? I don't know. I'd have to look at a map to know what they are. I have no idea. But they wrote like 40 songs, and they didn't particularly use the best songs. They're just some songs. And you can tell how because they can't communicate properly, they couldn't construct an album in a way, but they were still writing great stuff. And That ended. They thought. Well, I mean, you get a bit of conflicting stories. Ringo left really quick because he didn't like the food, and then Paul got bored because he, couldn't show off or whatever. And then it was John and George stayed for a bit longer. Particularly George is into it, but ultimately they left because they thought that the Yogi was trying it on with some of the women in their group. So they thought, he's not real. He's not really a god. Really? Oh. So they come back in a very cynical state. And it is also that thing of, well, once you've done it, where do you go? It's that thing again, isn't it? Well, at some point we're going to find the truth of enlightenment. Da 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 da, and you go there, and it's just an old man, and you've got to sit there and do nothing. It's a little bit of being a pretentious knob at sixth form or university. For me, that was at university. I read a lot of heavy stuff, and it took me nowhere. It's just that once you've done it, that was it. I always wished, instead of reading music philosophy, I'd read music theory. It was very interesting, but it's not like it helped me make music at all. They took no acid in India. So that's going to clear their heads as well, whereas Sgt. Pepper was written on acid. It's an acid album. And in the context of all of that, the reason they went there was to get away from it all, was, because this is the point of the sky-high rhetoric. Okay, Timothy Leary said, the band, the wisest, holiest, most effective avatars, that is, divine incarnate God agents, that the human race has ever produced. That's what people were saying about the Beatles. Now, I want to believe, but not that much. It's just a band, And people saying that stuff is bad, really bad. And a lot of what came out of this album was bad stuff because of all the nonsense. The Charles Manson thing of him reading crap into here. They write songs that are deliberately about the fact that people are reading crap into their albums, and he reads something else.
Very deep.
Mm. And the whole point of the album is that it's not very deep, isn't it?
Yeah. Actually, that is the thing about the Beatles, I mean, their reputation as sort of like that type, preceded them before I actually listened to them. And a lot of it's just childish nonsense.
Exactly. Which is wonderful. Yeah, and that's why they're good.
Really good, yeah. But it does make you wonder, I mean, that is more they embraced the time, didn't they? The Summer of Love and the hippie culture and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just as though we're going to embrace the 70s if they managed to survive into the 70s.
Exactly. They embraced what was happening at the time. Did they lead? Not really.
They became avatars for the 60s, basically.
Yeah.
And that's what people were big. They were bigging up the 60s via the Beatles.
Yeah, and it was cynically, but they wanted to be famous, etc., just like Pink Floyd, etc.
I do wonder, did they realise sort of the impact they were having? Because when it comes to it, they're not getting on.
Yeah.
But records are selling, and everything they write seems to be like gold dust.
They've changed the world.
There's got to be an element of we've got to keep writing this crap.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's what it was like. I don't really want to do this anymore. And they have to, because it's it's Bill and Ted, the crop yields go up because your album comes out.
I mean, it's got to be pretty bad if Ringo Starr leaves the band. I mean, Ringo's there not to leave the band.
Yeah.
He's specifically there. We need a drummer that can keep time and is good and is steady, yeah?
Yeah.
Or we write songs.
Yeah.
He's bought in like that, and, he gets so,
Very creative is Ringo. Yeah, and he would arrive to sessions before anyone else and wait for people to arrive. And he went from that to, he just walked out one day, I'm not doing this anymore. I had to go and sort of ask him back, can you come back and join the band, please? And he's not on the first two songs on the album. Back in the U.S.S.R. is Paul on drums. Dear Prudence is an amalgamation of all three of them on drums. that's not going to make a good sound. It's not going to make a good band sound of the Beatles, you know.
Yeah.
And now, obviously, Paul, Paul can actually drum properly, but he's not a good drummer, and he's not a creative drummer. He doesn't sound like Ringo. And it's like 13, the last Black Sabbath album. If that had Bill Ward on it, even Bill Ward in his diminished state, the feel would have made such a difference. It would have been much less plodding. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that all of that nonsense going on, that they will be able to do something natural. Or maybe they had no choice to do something natural. Okay, just the opposite of Sgt. Pepper is just, what's the album called? The Beatles. Oh, it had a working title. Quite strange, you think, huh? There you go. Reddit will tell us the answer. Reddit's good.
A Doll's House.
A Doll's House. Yeah, that was it. Yeah. And it turns out someone else had used that title. What does that mean? And there was a cover of stylized. Remember we said Pigeon Street, that kind of thing of the band.
Oh yeah.
So maybe they just couldn't agree, and half of them said that's a load of crap, and so they just from nothing then. It's Black Album thing again, isn't it? What should we put else on it? Nothing. Spinal Tap. So yeah, I mean, if it's intentional, if it is a guiding hand, or whether it was just they weren't in control, something very nihilistic about nothing means nothing, just some songs.
Don't read anything
after all that. Don't read anything into this. Oh, for God's sake. A lot is said about Yoko. It's interesting that Cynthia Lennon went with them to Marrakesh, not Marrakesh, whatever it's called. But then Yoko is on the sessions to this, so that's when that happened at that time. And so much is said about, Yoko came in and ruined it. But actually, all the wives were there. All four of them, girlfriends and wives. That's a bit weird.
Yeah.
They went from nobody, just it's the four of them, engineer, George Martin, to all their wives are there to come and watch. That's weird. So obviously they don't want to be there. I want to be at home with, that's what it is, isn't it? And so they're not a band. So Robert Fripp is right in that sense, and they're not collaborating. John Lennon wrote some songs and Paul McCartney wrote some songs. Sometimes they were recording at the same time in different studios. And supposedly, I think at one point, Paul was recording Mother Nature's Son, and John and Ringo come in, and the atmosphere just goes. And they were critical of each other's songs, and and it's true. John said, "Well, your songs are kind of bland," and Paul was saying, "Well, your songs are just random and unnecessarily, deliberately provocative, and just throwing everything at the wall. And that's mad. Let's do that." And they couldn't. Normally, they would just embellish each other's songs, and it would make it the Beatles. And that didn't happen. As good as this stuff is, that didn't happen. And as you said, throw into the mix, it must have caused friction as well. That suddenly George decides to be as good as Lennon and McCartney. This time, hello, why? Why my guitar gently weeps? That's probably the best song.
Yeah, it's the most notable, I'd say.
I always think that and Blackbird.
Yeah,
those two. Doesn't sound that different. It does sound different, but it doesn't make a big difference to it. And I've never liked the sound of. I've always liked live versions of that. Interestingly, Eric Clapton, obviously, allegedly. I've never been. If someone told me actually that's just George doing an Eric Clapton impression, I could believe it. It doesn't. The tone doesn't quite. Maybe it's the production and the wobbliness of the sound or whatever. So yeah, they could have fixed that quite easily. They could. I think they are right in that. Yeah, probably a single album needed to collaborate a bit more to finish off the songs, kind of thing. They could have done that, but obviously when George Martin went on holiday, forget this, and Ringo just left. That wasn't going to happen. They had to get together and they had to just do it and finish it. But it's also, this is the point where they started, instead of making a backing track and then playing to the backing track and getting it right, they just recorded everything and just jammed and jammed and jammed and jammed and jammed and jammed and jammed. And that's why, Anthology 3, you get like take 47 of this song. Good Night, take 34. Blackbird, take 32. I mean, that can't be good. It can't be. I'm sure they think that they're honing it, but that's why this period and Let It Be as well. It sounds so jammingy and because they're just playing the next time. It's not like this is the one this time. They're just playing it again. And Not Guilty, which is on the demos on the third disc of this one, but they didn't put on the album. That's take 102.
No way.
They didn't use it. They didn't even use it. I mean, for God's sake. I think Revolution 9 is rubbish. I've been careful with this. That should have been the centrepiece of the album, It should have been the big thing at the end. And I like the concept, obviously, but I just don't think... They're not that kind of band. So it just sounds like silly messing around. People call it pretentious. I think it's silly. They're silly messing around. Let's just do that. Number 9. It's quite funny. That's not good avant-garde music. A B-side to Hey Jude, that's a great idea. That'd be quite funny, Get all the kids buying Hey Jude, have that on the other side. The responses to the album are quite funny because it's, I like progressive music. I like it when the bands should move forward and change. I don't like this. Why don't they do that thing they did in the past, And we are at peak bullshit. Glass Onion, the Walrus was Paul. Here's another clue for you. And it didn't matter what he said. Even when he says that, people think, he means something. What does he mean? He means secret things. No, it doesn't mean anything. I found this book at a library that we're getting rid of called Book of Pop. And it was written by someone about pop. I've done my research on pop. And it's just completely clueless. And one of the things he said was, well, John Lennon admits that I Am the Walrus isn't about anything. But here's what it's about. I Am the Walrus is your Goons-esque surreal nonsense, isn't it? It is a fantastic song. Yeah. Piggies is really good. And in the past I've never really liked it, but I do like it on here. That's George's other big thing, really. And but obviously people thought it was about the police. They're saying yes. What they need is a damn good whacking. We've got to fight the police. And I'm sure it's about the press and about the media and all that stuff, isn't it? But this is it's also the backlash around this time as well. The London drug squad arrested John and Yoko for marijuana possession. He always maintained. Well, actually, yeah, of course we were smoking it, but they planted it. So that the object was to get them, that they broke into his house, put some marijuana there, and said, "Oh, look, there's some marijuana." That kind of thing, which I can believe. Back in the U.S.S.R, there was some nutter Christian evangelist said that it was proof of the Beatles' compliance in a communist plot to brainwash American youth to the communism. Nothing changes, does it? I'll make a playlist on my thing. I wonder if should we do that? Should we do that another time? Maybe we'll do that next week.
Yeah, let's do that next week.
Yeah. I've tried to do this before and failed, where I've tried to make a single album, but now we've got the remix. We should try it.
Yeah.
I think it should probably have Hey Jude on it, actually. But yeah, we'll do that next week. Yeah, so cool. It is a 5-egg album.
Ooh. See, I agree with that.
I would have given the non-remixed version 4 eggs. So,
So you like it more than from the way you were talking about it? You actually like it more than I thought you did.
It's all at the start. The first disc is so much better. Very, very quickly, because we've gone on and on. But I think Back in the U.S.S.R is awesome, and the production has helped hugely with that. Dear Prudence, yeah. Glass Onion, lots of fun. So that would justify being on an album. But, Obla-Dee Obla-Da probably fits on an album. Wild Honey Pie is funny, but needs to be with Honey Pie. Either at the same point on the 2 discs or together, Bungalow Bill. While My Guitar Gently Weeps is amazing. Happiness is a Warm Gum, that's John Lennon's thing. Martha, My Dear, I don't think is really good. I'm So Tired is John Lennon's thing. Blackbird's one of the best things on there. Piggies I really like now. Rocky Raccoon, I couldn't actually finish the song, so I can't comment. Don't Pass Me By is Ringo's song, so, that's all right. Why don't we do it in the Roads a Waste of Time? I will waste of time. Julia's amazing, actually. That's, John Lennon writing about his mother. Birthday is just silly. Yer Blues has never worked for me. That's the one they played at the Rolling Stones Rock and Roll Circus, and Jethro Tull were there, and Tony Iommi was in Jethro Tull at that moment, and he's there on the video miming to the Jethro Tull song. And what is it? It's Clapton, Lennon singing. What's his name? I can't remember his name. Rolling Stones guitarist. Keith
Richards.
Yeah, Keith on bass. He sounds really weird because he can't play bass. And Mitch Mitchell, I think, on drums. And they played Yer Blues. But apparently they thought it sounded terrible. Maybe. I think it sounds all right. Mother Nature's Son is okay. Everybody's got something to hide except for me and my monkey. I think I find that quite funny because the come on thing is from the Yogi guy, but the stuff about me and my monkey, that's just John Lennon, which may be about heroin or not, maybe. Sexy Sadie, meh. Helter Skelter is awesome. Long 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 is utterly forgettable. The song Revolution is a bit meh. Honey Pie is rubbish, I think, and yet that would go on a solo album, wouldn't it? It would go on a McCartney solo album. Savoy Truffles, meh. Cry Baby Cries, meh. Revolution 9 is garbage. And I hate Goodnight. I just don't like it. Oh yeah, and of course one of the things they didn't use was Junk, which did end up on Paul McCartney's solo album, and that was, a lot better than some of that rubbish. So that's interesting. So there you go. Yeah, good. Thank you. See you next time.